welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders. I'm Andrew.
I'm Emily.
And we are talking Automan this season. We are on Automan episode 4, Ships in the Night.
I would like to apologize right away because I had told you upon my first viewing that there was no second opening. But when I watched it again, there was a second opening. I don't know how I missed it.
I thought you were going to apologize that you were going to do the whole episode in a Caribbean accent, which
No.
would be on point for this episode, but not appropriate.
No, I only do appropriate things. So
okay. So yes, I was very upset when that started. I was just like, what the hell?
I'm sorry.
You lied to me.
I did lie. I apologize. I was so excited. I don't know what happened. I must have passed out or something.
but based on how the first scene of the episode, actually, the intro was better than the first scene. Okay, what are your 3 items?
Gosh, I want to talk about LAPD jurisdiction. Just what the hell is it? I want to talk about France Nguyen, and continuity.
Okay, I want to talk about Scuzzies. That'll kick us off. Chest hair Wally.
Oh,
and okay, so this stock footage festival from The Simpsons.
Okay.
Which the subnote to that is, let's fuck Lieutenant Jack.
Oh.
Okay, so we open with a montage of the Carribean, including a bikini butt shot in this show for 8-year-old boys. It's just in the montage, which was probably left over from Glenn A. Larson's other shows for 8-year-old boys, but it was there. But then the first scene is this old white businessman guy whose name isn't important, really, I don't think. No, his name's not important. And he's meeting with someone, and he needs money. He's dry for liquid resources. And so the guy's like, well, you can buy some Coke and sell it in the States, and I will help you out with that. And he's like, but sir, why don't you just take this great big deal yourself? And the guy's like, I can't because I am wanted in the US, blah, blah, blah. And it plays like an infomercial for white, like if you're a white guy who's going on a business trip to the Caribbean, you have to watch, your company makes you watch this so you don't end up bringing cocaine back to the country. But at one point, the guy's like, why do you want me to do it? Isn't it mostly scuzzies who bring this stuff over?
Yeah.
So no, it's white men.
Yeah, the guy's like, oh, well, you're a distinguished businessman. Nobody's going to suspect you of having drugs.
So cut to them on a janky plane, which should have been the first sign, because if the point of smuggling drugs to the U.S. and not getting busted would be doing it through customs, not private plane customs, right? Like they could bribe inspections with private planes. This only works if you're taking it in over an airliner. But it turns out it's all bullshit, and they throw the guy out of the plane, which is kind of funny.
And keep in mind, he gets thrown out, and then you see footage of some guy falling. That's going to come back. That exact same footage is going to come back.
Everybody looks the same falling out of a plane from a certain distance.
It's funny how people's clothes change when they're falling out of a plane. I don't know.
It just happens. It just happens. Okay, so then we cut to the Automan cast. This businessman is from LA, which means it's the LAPD's job to find out what happened.
I didn't get that he was from LA. And so I wondered why they would be caring so much and not,
I think that's it,
bringing federal agents in. I mean, Automan, obviously the federal agent. Excuse me. That sucked. But yeah, I was wondering why they needed to go to the Caribbean, to this fake island in the Caribbean, which I've heard before. San Cristobal. That's not real, is it? You gave me a look.
Is it real? I think it's real.
So San Cristobal is an island, but it's like in the Galapagos, and it's not a fun Caribbean place. It's like you go there to look at turtles who
really
or tortoises.
The footage they use has Nassau in it, so I thought it was in Nassau at the beginning. And then I was like, maybe San Cristobal is a.
I don't know, but
it doesn't matter.
My geography is not great, but when I Googled, it came up in the Galapagos Islands. So I don't have anything about the scene with the cops, except, God damn, that chief is not the chief or whatever his name is. He is such a bad actor.
Yeah. The Gerald O'Loughlin guy. He just sucks.
He's just angry all the time. And
he's so bad. He does, like, it's a bit. And I think they shoot all of his scenes, like, because he's only in 2 scenes. He's in this scene, he's in a scene at the end. I think they shot him in a row. They're just like, just make noises. But this is where they get the assignments.
Yeah.
So they're going to send Lieutenant Jack down with Roxanne because he's going to be a boss running off with his secretary. Then the chief calls Wally Nebusher, and Wally has to correct him.
So I have been mispronouncing it Nebusher the whole time. It is Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, I've been mispronouncing it this whole time.
Okay, but he calls him Nebusher. So we still got that joke. Okay, so Wally's in charge of making a fake
profile, cover story
on the computer. Yeah, he's going to make their Facebook accounts. So he goes to his computer and he gets Automan, and Automan's like, well, I talked to my friend the FBI computer, and we found out that there are 12 more victims. Holy shit. You would think the FBI would be interested in this, but no. Okay, so they fly to the Caribbean in the autoplane.
Because Jack and Roxanne are already there.
And also Wally's sneaking there with Automan.
Yes.
Again, if Automan and Wally were a couple, it would be no different. The show would be no different. And we will learn soon it is hiding certain character relationships from us.
I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I didn't even notice it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So on the plane ride down, Wally or Automan's talking about how he wanted to go to the Caribbean. And Wally's like, why, man? You don't like, he's like, Automan says, I've always wanted to go to the tropics. And Wally's like, always? How do you always want to do something? You fucking hologram piece of shit. I hate you.
He's being rude again. He's being such an asshole.
A whitey asshole. And it's because they watched High Winded Java some night. And it's like, so it's like Automan like sincerely seems to like spending time with Wally, and Wally hates him.
Yeah.
Wally just fucking hates Automan so much.
But we're also bringing back that whole thing about how watching movies, he learns how to behave and he learns about the world by watching movies, which I love because I like watching movies. Even shitty ones.
I've actually never seen High Winded Java. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Okay. So they get to the Caribbean, and Jack and Roxanne get there and they check in, blah, 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 establishing there in the hotel. But then Wally and Automan have to land on an airfield. Is this where they say the country's poor or something?
Do they? I don't know.
They say I have poor with like quotation marks and stars next to it. So there's something slightly problematic, I'm sure. But basically, Automan ditches Wally at the airfield to get arrested by the military police. So Wally runs but gets caught. Back at the hotel, Automan pages Roxanne.
This beautiful scene, this beautiful piece of cinema.
Where they talk to each other. They're on the house phones at the hotel, standing next to each other, backs to each other, talking to each other. And so we've never expressly talked about. Roxanne knows that Automan is a fucking hologram. He is a computer man. He is a superhero.
Yeah.
She thinks he sucks.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, what are you doing there, man?
But remember, in the pilot, she thought he was a hunk.
Well, and we've got some information here about the type of man she likes. Okay. Jack comes over and he's like, Roxanne, shh, that federal agent standing right behind you.
What a dope. What a dope.
And he's like, Oh, we didn't talk. Neither of us had Jack the professional damsel as one of our.
No.
It's Dame, I think. Oh crap! I've looked it up before. Is it? You're a dam in distress. There's a archaic male variation of damsel. But there's something about warning them. Jack's like, we're professionals. We don't need your help. And it's like, dude, you're fucking enough.
You get caught in every single
time.
thing. Every single time.
You also get laid, which makes me read Automan's target audience is 8-year-old boys with old ass dads who married their secretaries who want to be convinced women closer to their age want to fuck them. That is who this show is very directly for.
Okay.
So, there we get Wally talking to the cops, the local cops, and I think we established that. Oh yeah, so he tells them, "I'm here because there are 12 missing Americans who've been lured," and the captain's like, "What? You made a mistake."
Yeah.
And then we're like, uh-oh, maybe there's corruption. So they follow him. But this is also where chest hair Wally makes his first appearance. Okay. Clearly, Desi Arnaz Jr. was like, I'm sick of Chuck Wagner being the sexy one. I want to be the sexy one.
My mom says I'm sexy.
My mom says I'm the sexiest boy on the block. Mother Boy 1983. So yeah, Wally's going to be showed off a lot of chest hair this whole episode, but at least one of the cast members is gonna dig it. So Wally gets released, but they're gonna follow him. Automan finds him. Is Automan in his fucking outfit at this point? He is, right?
Yeah. So on the airfield,
yeah.
He changes into his linen white suit with his Hawaiian shirt underneath and chest hair. And his Panama Jack hat.
Yeah, but you got no problem with the little Chuck Wagner chesties, do you? No, you don't.
He's 6'4".
Oh, that's the other thing. The scene where he's with Jack and Roxanne at the phones, he just towers over them.
Yes,
It makes you wonder if Desi Arnaz Jr. is on fucking like a box next to him, because Desi Arnaz Jr. never looks like a little kid.
No.
But like in this actual shot, Chuck Wagner's very tall.
According to the internet, he's only like 5'9" or 5'10", which would be a significant height difference, and you never see it. I mean, you never think like, oh God, he's so much shorter than Automan.
No, because Desi Arnaz Jr.'s mom told him he was the tallest boy on the block. Would they'd be the right age to have actually met the Bluths at Mother Boy 1983, right? Like,
I don't know. I don't remember the exact dates for the Bluths.
There needs to be shared continuity between Desi Arnaz's life and Arrested Development. Okay, so shit, where are we?
They're talking on the house phones.
No, we've already gotten to Automan.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so Automan tells Wally that they know the police are involved because they've scrubbed all the records of these disappearances.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, intro France Nguyen. She meets Jack.
Yeah.
Or Jack goes to see her at a bank. That's what it is. She works at a bank.
She's been identified as the person who is connected to all these missing people. And she's very beautiful, very sophisticated. She works at this bank, and Jack is trying to bait her into meeting up with her connection, who is presumably the one throwing people out of airplanes. And so what I learned let's talk about her in more detail a little bit later, because my point is more about her as an older woman having a little romance.
A little romance or a 6'4" romance, plus minus whatever
Heels.
The other thing is. So she calls the bad guy, who is played by, we found his name in the pre-show and then I forgot. Scott Marlowe. Scott Marlowe is no Clu Gallagher and no Steve McQueen's friend from the second one. He is the worst of the villains, which is saying something considering Clu Gallagher was fucking weird. Just weird. But their phone call gets in. He's not interested. He thinks the guy's too obvious or something. But then the police captain shows up and is like, we've got all this heat, man. I want 50%. And the Sawyer guy, or the bad guy's like, why do you deserve 50%? And there's just this great moment where the police captain's like, man, the only reason you can do this shit in my country is because I'm letting you. And I'm like, right. Like,
yeah. It's like this guy has no leverage.
Fucking Americans, man.
Except that blonde with a mullet who's gonna like put him in a headlock or something. Like,
okay. So then we cut to Wally and Roxanne walking down the street, chesties hand holding. And you didn't notice the hand holding.
I didn't notice the hand holding. I noticed they were kind of close, but they're colleagues. I mean, I hold hands with my colleagues all the time.
And lots of your colleagues have pictures of you on their computer desks at home.
I don't know. I mean, I assume.
But yeah, I'm just kind of like, wait, are they supposed to be
an item? Yeah. It's so weird.
What is, because I mean, it is a show for 8-year, like any show for boys is very weird about its cast, the male lead having a monogamous, steady relationship, like going into probably the present day, like very close to the present day, if not the present day. Your lead does not have a steady girlfriend because dudes are pigs, right? Like that's why George Costanza gets a new lady every episode, right? Jerry Seinfeld gets a new lady every episode. Like the steady girlfriend thing is not, people just don't want to see couples. But if Roxanne and Wally are supposed to be together, it sort of changes the show quite a bit, right? Like these miserable nights where she's sitting around and they're watching movies. She's like, Wally, you said we'd go to the disco, and Automan wants to watch High Road for Java. I don't know what to do, man. We gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Like, because we've never seen Wally's home life since the pilot, right? We haven't seen his horny old neighbor lady and all that stuff. But now it's time for, now you didn't seem to like this scene as much as I thought you would. The auto limbo.
Yeah. So they're walking down the street and they look over and somebody's making a spectacle of themselves, and it is Automan on the limbo bar. So he's dancing around doing the dance, and he takes the bar and puts it down even lower. Like from what I observed, it looked like it was near or below his knees, which whatever. And then you get this brilliant practical effect where he's like got his back on a rolling chair or something and he's sliding under the bar. It was so ridiculous. And I did love that, the cheap practical effect of him clearly just rolling under the bar. He's not walking. He's not struggling. He's rolling straight under. And Wally is really mad because, again, he's making a spectacle of himself. So he goes and confronts Automan, says, you can't be doing this. You can't be acting this way. We're here on a mission. And then Automan does some little problematic stuff where he's talking about the limbo and how it is the limbo, and he is using a Caribbean accent a little bit. That was a little disappointing. I was disappointed in Automan. He
then talks about erotic desire.
Oh, I have that written down. Yeah, something about erotic desire. And then he goes, Wally, what is erotic desire? As if Wally knows.
My mom says I know more about erotic desire than any of the other boys on the block. Who would have been his like competition for like being a shitty Hollywood boy?
I don't know.
Like Kurt Russell. My mom says I'm better than Michael Douglas.
I was thinking Kiefer maybe, but he was on drugs.
Younger too. This is 83.
I don't know how old Kiefer Sutherland is.
He's 17 forever. There's a very sort of funny thing because so this Caribbean island is entirely populated by white people. So
except the people playing the music.
Right. But the native girls are blondes in sequins and stuff. And like Automan takes off his shirt and Wally's like, you're going to need to put on your shirt. And he's like, why? I sparkle just like everybody else here, man. Like, what is your problem, Wally? Like,
except everybody is like gawking at him because he doesn't sparkle like everybody else.
That's true.
He glows.
Chuck Wagner glows in his own way. Okay. Then they're like, well, we need to go do something. I don't know where the fuck they actually.
He notices the police are looking at them.
Oh, and so they're running away? Then why the fuck do they leave Roxanne there?
I don't know, but this is the epic car chase.
This is the epic car chase, but it starts with them making the car.
Oh yeah,
like in a crowded space,
and nobody cares.
Nobody knows that. Yeah,
nobody cares.
That's fine.
So this car chase is also something I noted because I know you hate these because they're very poorly done, absolutely poorly done. It reminds me of a cartoon though. This one in specific because there are 3 crashes. The first crash is just general, like it's not even off the road. They go off onto another road. I don't know. And then they back out and they get back on the road. The second time they hit something, but it's like cartoonish. It's like they hit like a billboard or something. They go crash through a billboard. And it's like, what is going on? And then the third time they hit like a fruit stand. And it's like, what is happening? This is like Bugs Bunny.
But so there's a tropical Automan theme playing in the background, which is awesome. And I think the name of the police guy following them is Abraham Alvarez. He doesn't have a picture on IMDb, but it seemed like he's credited. His driver guy is not, because he doesn't have any lines.
Yeah.
But basically it is the 2 Stooges chasing Automan and Wally.
Yeah, so
and it's endless.
It's endless, but it's really funny because the guy's like, "Oh, you better do it right," because he's the passenger at first, and then he's like, "I'll take over," and then he crashes into something himself. It's so stupid, but it is like a cartoon. It's like a cartoon again for 8-year-olds, right?
Yeah, and the tropical Automan theme was funny. Like I was like, if it were just set to this fucking terrible music, it'd be funny.
Yeah,
they go to the bank, which they're looking something up on the computer, I think. But then it's time for the montage.
Yes. Gonna have a montage.
France and Lieutenant Jack are going to have some wine, and they just have a few minutes before her partner gets there. Do you want to go in the other room and fuck? And Jack is like, yes, I do. Cut to stock footage, fireworks montage out of the, 4th episode of The Simpsons, where the kids go to the stock footage festival. Yeah. I was just like, what the I don't think that Robert Lansing is a particularly handsome dude.
She's just trying to seal the deal, man. She's just trying to seal the deal.
He was 53 at this point. Like,
she was 45 at this point, if I did my math right. So an older woman having sexuality, I'm down with. That was kind of my main point about her, is like, she's beautiful, but she's clearly an older woman, and she's gets it on with Jack. She's going to get it on with Automan in a few minutes. It's going to be fucking great. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking great. There's going to be electricity. I love it.
So yes, that was an interesting scene. And that is like Jack's setup is he's irresistible to the over. Oh shit. Jack should have hooked up with the fiance from last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
That's apparently age appropriate for Automan. Though I don't know if we know how old. How old is Heather McNair?
I don't know.
I don't. She
couldn't be
didn't
bothered.
work. She does not have her age on Wikipedia or on IMDb, but I don't know if there's a major age difference. Well, how old was Desi Arnaz Jr.? 53. So he was 30. Yeah, he was 30. Man, he was fucking up against Kurt Russell for parts. No wonder he looks so sad in his IMDb photo. Okay, so they get banging, and then the bad guy shows up. And it's like, that's not a businessman. That's Lieutenant Jack Curtis of the LAPD.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, who's this guy? And he's like,
so he recognizes the guy's voice, and it's like weird because he's like, I recognize that voice. I haven't seen you in years. And then it's only later that he's like, he's got a new face. What? Like,
yeah,
there was no explanation. Like, what the fuck?
Thing.
He did a fucking face off,
yeah,
and you're not mentioning it.
Face.
You're not mentioning it to the guy. Like, where the fuck did you get a new face, dude? It was weird.
And then I remembered, this is the other trope of 80s television. People bad guys just have plastic surgery and look like totally different actors all the time.
Oh, that's why he used to be handsome in the 50s. And now he's not, because he got a new face.
Maybe. So Jack goes to jail. That's how they solve that. They're like, well, we're just going to throw you in our corrupt jail. But Roxanne is able to bribe her way in and go visit Jack. And
that's where you get the details about this guy's a criminal and he's wanted and he got plastic surgery and blah, blah, blah. So you get a little bit of background afterwards, but it's still like the most fucked up, bizarre thing that it wasn't mentioned.
But then we get a brief conversation about Automan and Wally for Jack and Roxanne. And I think Jack says something about how there's just something about Automan, just something about him. And Roxanne's worried because she doesn't know which one's in charge. And I'm like, why the fuck would Wally be in charge? Like,
so this is the 4th episode. So we know at least 3 times before she has seen these crimes be solved by Automan, and she's still like, I don't trust this Automan guy. And what's
up with this dude?
She's still wondering who's in charge. Weird. Clearly, Automan is an asset, and you should just accept him.
Yes.
Unless he's stealing your boyfriend.
Well, they also call Jack the best cop in LA, and I'm like, does every other best cop in LA end up in held hostage in every one of his
captured every time, get discovered? Like, he's the worst.
He's terrible at his job. He's a fucking old man who doesn't want to accept he's an old man, so he does stupid things, and they never works out, and he gets saved, and his old man white friend covers his ass, but not, that intentionally, just because he's too stupid to think anybody else could have done anything.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great message for mediocre white boys of the 80s. Okay, so then we cut to the hotel, and the captain is at the hotel, and he's going to have a meeting with Wally, but first he's going to stare at some butts. And this episode does not have Cursor doing anything other than making the cars.
He made the car, and he made Automan's outfit.
Yes. When he makes the money, or he gets rid of the money. Anyway.
Oh, he gets rid of the money, and they appear in the he appears the jet, the auto jet, whatever.
So you would think Cursor would be looking at butts too. And I'm wondering if maybe they were like, you need to tone it down with Cursor the sex pest.
Again, very cartoonish, that whole thing.
Well, Desi Arnaz Jr. is concerned that Cursor is more sexually attracted to women than he is. He wants chest hair and no more Cursor.
Yeah.
His mom says
no more Cursor.
He's a lot sexier.
His mom says Cursor can't come play anymore.
Okay. But Wally shows up and sets a trap for the captain, sort of. He's like, hey, man, Mr. Otto's here, and he stole a bunch of money from the federal poverty program. I'm like, this is 1983. This is the Reagan presidency. Fucking, they were selling fucking poor people's organs to, in back alleys to make money off of them. There was no federal poverty program.
No.
But Wally's like, we can bust this guy together, and it can be the biggest bust in history, and we'll take that money and we'll return it. And the captain's just like,
yeah,
sure,
we'll return
it.
That
sounds great.
Yeah.
But then they go, and Wally does the phone thing with Automan again, where they're standing back to back.
It's hilarious.
And it's great. So then Roxanne shows up, and somebody shushes her, but they're going to do a gambling montage again,
Mm-hmm.
where Automan is setting the trap for France Nguyen. Why he wouldn't have gone to the bank? Why she's got a casino?
Because the bad guy explained it before. How we search for these people. How did you get like the perfect mark with Jack? So he's making a spectacle of himself, throwing around his money, and she's going to offer him a business proposition.
Yes. Okay, so they go to his room or her room.
His room. It must be his room because Desi and Heather are hiding in the other room of this hotel. Sweet.
And they work out the business, but then it's time for the pleasure.
Oh my God.
And the fire dancing in her eyes.
Oh my God. It was so beautiful. They have a little smooch, little romantic smooch. I don't even remember the setup. I don't remember how it ended. There was no fucking, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Handsome man smooching a 45-year-old woman. I like that. Anybody know Lee Pace's number? I'm not quite 45, but
I feel like they should have just done a Chuck Wagner American Gigolo movie where it didn't end with fucking Paul Schrader shootout. Instead, it was just Chuck Wagner romancing ladies of a certain age. I feel like that would have been a lot more popular than Automan.
Yeah, I agree.
Because while Lieutenant Jack did get the sexy, he didn't get to kiss her on screen.
No.
She's like, no, we're not. I'm not kissing that dude. You're not paying me enough.
No, but she's like, I will kiss.
I will do a dip kiss.
Oh.
Dip and hold long enough for the electricity to surround them and for her to say something about like, you make me tingle, Automan.
Yeah, you're making me tingly. Ooh, boy. She's got a little Spanish fly, maybe.
And Wally and Roxanne are like, Automan, you suck. You didn't even set up a meeting. So she calls him immediately.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, you want to set up a fucking, deal?
She's gone for 3 seconds and there's a house phone. And she's like, oh, yeah. Do you want to set up a deal? She's just still high on smooches.
They really needed a scene with her downstairs talking on the phone with somebody else, like thinking they were talking to her behind her or something.
Yeah.
Like the captain or they could have done that. But anyway, because she's also had time to call her partner or something.
She was literally gone for 5 seconds and she's already set up a time. It's so weird.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So they're going to go meet and they're going to go meet him immediately. It's like, come over to fucking old boy's house. And then the montage scene of the parade is set during the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucked up. Is they going to explain this? No. They're right at the house, sitting around. They left Roxanne, which is smart, but it also means that she doesn't actually get to see them do anything. So it's like, okay.
She apparently has some plan. Like she's part of the plan, but I don't know what part it is because they leave and she's like, oh, I know what my part is. And it's like, is your part just like hanging out, having a drink at the bar? Because you're not actually doing anything.
No, she doesn't do a damn thing. Okay. And I thought she was on the plane at the end and she's not even on the plane. She's just done. She has a subplot with Cursor. We're not going to.
They had to cut that.
Okay. They had to cut that. So Sawyer tells Automan and Wally his new plan, his new deal, which is I want to create a crime island. There are no police and no politicians. We'll just do crimes there.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you in? And Automan's like, definitely. He's like, okay, meet me tomorrow morning at the deserted airstrip at the end of town. And I'm like, it's not a good meeting place.
And Wally had learned when they landed that's oftentimes where drug smugglers do their business. And he's not putting it together that whatever.
But then, and this is a callback I can't believe neither of us had as one of our points, it's time for lights out on the island.
Yes.
So Automan's gonna run out of power somehow. And I was like, why?
It's the Festival of Lights. So what's happening is everybody is awake and they're flashing their lights in their houses and their businesses off and on all night. And somehow that is draining his energy, even though he's been working all day, even though he's, I mean, again, there's no continuity with this power thing. It's just a plot device.
Oh, is this
right?
your continuity? Automan?
No,
continuity?
no, but I mean, it's part of it. It's part of the larger one.
Okay. So they hurry out of there, but they don't make it in time, and Automan dissipates, and Wally gets caught.
Yeah.
But Automan will be back as soon as he can to save the day. Okay. So it's the next morning at the deserted airfield. Wally is held prisoner. France Nguyen is there. Blonde mullet guy is there.
His name is I forget what his name is. Ross?
That was
no, I don't
Woody.
know. Woody, that's right.
Who I'm vaguely convinced Chuck Wagner dubbed his lines for in the first scene.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Also there, I believe, is one Branscombe Richmond as the other villain. Branscombe Richmond is known for, he's a stuntman, but he also, I believe, was on he was a regular on some action show, like fucking Walker, Texas Ranger or something, Chuck Norris. I don't know. But like, he's very familiar looking. What is, I gotta see now, I'm confused. He's been on a bunch of soaps and stuff, but there's like he's very young in this. Nash Bridges, no. He was in Batman Returns. Anyway, he's been in a bunch of stuff, but he was in this, and like, I recognized a young version of somebody who's on Hunter for a couple of years. He's going to be on a Night Court. You'll see him someday soon. But so he's on the plane too. So Automan, the captain shows up, or who shows up first? No,
I don't remember.
I think, okay, so like the captain shows up and is like arguing with bad guy, and then Automan appears in between them and the plane with his money.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
oh yeah, he like just appears suddenly. It was very weird. I remember that.
And he's like, "What's going on here? Why is Wally all tied up?" And they're like, "Change of plans. Get on the plane, man." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And France Nguyen says,
"All right."
He just gets on the plane, and I'm like, "So he's got a plan, right? Like he's going to Automan his way out of this." Interesting understanding of velocity of falling objects on this show too, by the way. But they get on the plane, and this is where France Nguyen says she's still tingling from their kiss. Oh, shut up. You'd still be tingling from your Chuck Wagner kiss a day later with his chesties. He's got his chesties out. She's quite fond of him.
Yes.
But they're going to toss Wally out first.
Okay,
so my note was, please let them toss Wally out.
So this is my biggest part about the continuity. So Wally is in his like not tan, but like sandy linen suit. They toss him out, and it's the same blue suit from the first scene where the American businessman gets thrown. It's the exact same footage. Guy in different clothes. Really, really obvious to me. I guess they just couldn't afford to put Wally in a blue suit, or to shoot a second guy falling out of a plane, or to have them both wearing the same suit. I don't know, whatever. I thought that was really stupid and really obvious. And he's falling for a long time, because then there's like a conversation happening on the plane, and Wally's still falling. I don't know how high they are, but Wally's still falling.
Very high.
Yeah.
Very high. Okay, so then Automan is like, well, I'm gonna just go. So he just jumps out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, he's nuts.
Yeah.
And then the money disappears.
But nobody notices right away.
Why isn't anybody noticing this?
Yeah.
It's very obviously in front of Frank. Like, the shot makes it seem like they see it.
Yeah.
But they aren't going to. Instead, we get a bunch of bad falling effects.
And Cursor, who is called upon to make the money disappear, then appears the plane, the auto plane. And Wally, who is so far been like diving head first, kind of lands in the seat very nicely, very much like Princess Bride at the end when she falls right onto the horse, right into his arms. Like, doesn't work that way, especially when you're falling that far. But which I thought was weird that he just kind of is seated in the autoplane. What is wrong? Why are you squinching your face?
Just thinking of Wally as Buttercup.
Aww.
Anyway,
hello, nice lady.
I feel like the show could get away with Automan calling him Buttercup. I'm just saying. Okay. But then we have like this lengthy bad guys landing their plane thing, and they're like, hey, we did a good job, man.
And then they're like, oh, where's the money? Where'd the money go? That's when they realize the money's gone. Very weird.
It's impossible. So they land, and Automan is there with Wally. They're like, you're supposed to be dead. And Wally's like, I guess it's just attempted murder then. For us, but all those other people, here are the cops.
Yeah.
And so, maybe Roxanne was getting Lieutenant Jack out of jail somehow because he's here.
Oh yeah, maybe. And they were getting other authorities who weren't corrupt.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So we get a bickering scene between the bad guys that ends with France Nguyen being like, shut up, boys, you're stupid. Like, it's just so silly.
They're like putting the blame. It's like little kids getting in trouble. They're like, no, he made me do it. No, he made me do it. No. And she's like, shut up and accept responsibility, you fucking fools. Yay.
And then it's back to LA for the wrap up, where the captain, in a worse performance than at the beginning. Oh wait, hold on. My note for that is this guy just drunk? Like, if like Jared O'Loughlin was working drunk, so much more makes sense.
Yes.
At some point, he gets angry that he's like, only a real cop can do this, not this stupid computer. So he starts hitting the computers.
Oh yeah, and then the computer freaks out,
and Wally tells it to stop, meaning that it was presumably Cursor doing it.
Yeah.
But maybe
or
all
Automan.
those computers are alive. But I would feel like if you wanted to fuck with the captain, you could do better things. Like Cursor could fly up his pant leg or something.
He's not that pervy, okay? He's only pervy for women, not for men.
Okay. Jack, but anyway, so the captain's like, well, it took 3 good cops. So the captain is totally fine that Wally took it upon himself to buddy up with his federal agent friend, fly down to the Caribbean, and crack the case.
Yeah.
Captain, that's good police work for the LAPD, baby.
Yep. Just get the feds involved.
Lieutenant Jack wants to make sure to include the cop in that, and the Fed in that count.
Yeah.
All 4 of them are good cops, including Automan. So there's the overreacting computer bit, but then it ends with like a laugh scene.
Freeze frame. Yeah.
A freeze frame, like the fucking Brady Bunch.
Yep.
I wrote it down. Let me see if I can do it. Banana, like banana, like I can't do it. Whatever. But it's like the fucking Brady Bunch. It ends with them like, oh, computers, oh, they're so funny, and they're drums and cymbals, and it's terrible. The other thing we didn't talk about is the music in this. I mean, you had mentioned that there's like tropical Automan. They did 2 covers again. At least 2 that I recognized. One was The Tide is High, and one was The Land Down Under, which I thought was weird. That they took that as a tropical song. I must have missed The Land Down Under.
Oh, yeah.
But that would have been very current for the time.
Yeah.
So that is, I'm sorry I missed that.
No, that's fine.
I did notice The Tide is High, but I was like, who did that originally? Is this on the level of them getting Bee Gees covers?
Blondie did it. That would have been the most recent.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a blonde. Okay.
The closest. I mean, that was released in 1980.
Okay. So yeah.
And it's a cover. I don't know who did the original.
So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Automan episode 4.
I enjoyed it overall.
I enjoyed it because we were going to get to talk about it like this. I don't know how happy I would have been. It wasn't as long as the pilot, so it's better than the pilot, definitionally. But like that car chase took all the energy out of me. Like it was so long. It was like 3 minutes. Like it was endless, and it was bad.
It was bad.
But it was also the most involved car chase they've ever done on the show. They put more work into it than anything else they've ever done, and it was worse for it.
Oh, I see.
And the other ones are pretty bad.
Because I could like liken it to a cartoon. It was sort of like a little goofier. I mean, it was still bad. It wasn't well done, but I could see what they were trying to do. It was just not well executed because they've done so many bad car chases in the past. It's like, it was
something different.
Yeah, it was just something different.
I did have high hopes that Automan was going to get Franz Nguyen away from a life of crime.
Aww.
And I did.
But he's not
actually,
a real person.
He was real enough to kiss, and he wanted to take it. I want Automan to have a love interest. Since we're apparently not going to get him stealing Roxanne away from Wally because she prefers Desiartes Jr. just like his mama.
Everybody deserves love, even Wally Nebeker. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, I don't know.
I think my edible just hit. So the next episode is called Unreasonable Facsimile. And this has a guest star that I'm familiar with, Delta Burke. So I'm excited about that.
What?
Yeah.
Is that the only guest star?
I mean, I'm sure there are people that you know that I don't. Gerald Gordon, Robert Sampson, Glenn Corbett. I've never heard of any of these people.
Glenn Corbett's name sounds familiar, but I think
Conroy
he's a Western
Gideon,
guy.
Dennis Scott.
No.
Anyway.
No. I know Delta Burke, though.
Yeah, so I know Delta Burke.
Does it have a synopsis?
Yeah, storyline. A helicopter crash prompts a businessman to look into possible defective parts. He gets killed, and it looks like a mugging. In the meantime, Walter asks Otto to look at some criminal profile tapes, but Otto views a soap opera instead. Oh my God! Oh, and he realizes he's never felt love or passion. I'm sorry, Franz Nguyen. This is going to be exciting. I told you I wanted this. I told you I wanted a romance. He's going to romance.
Are these out of order?
I don't think so. Is that not what the next one is?
No. I'm saying, shouldn't this one have come before this one?
I don't know, but I'm so excited. Is he going to romance Delta Burke?
We'll find out next week.
I'm excited. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.